girl Curdy here, and happy blessed Tuesday! So today, it's a brand new day in the middle of March, and that is why we should maximize every single day that we're blessed with and maximize our strength, our power, and our confidence, and all the graces that God bestows upon each and every one of us. Therefore, don't put up an umbrella above your head when it comes to God bestowing graces upon you and then it's just going away. You close that umbrella and you let God shower you with graces like no tomorrow, and you do something with it. You don't just let it go to waste and just be like, I'll do it tomorrow. No, don't ever procrastinate when it comes to Christ. Like, yes, discern and ponder on it, of course. Yes, and pray upon it, of course. But, don't let it don't procrastinate for Christ. Literally, as being a true disciple and being a true warrior for Christ, procrastination is out the door. This is not like high school, like some people procrastinate a lot in high school. Don't procrastinate. Honestly, when it comes to Christ calling you to do something, you act upon it right now. You literally say yes. You give Christ that unconditional yes, giving him that yes, that okay, I know it's going to be a lot of waiting and a lot of growing in virtue and a lot of uncertainty here and there, but just be sure of one thing, that God loves you. Jesus Christ loves you. The best is in store for you. Whenever you're placed in a time of waiting, my friend, that is when you know for sure that God is preparing the answer for you and God's preparing you to receive the answer. So therefore, that's what I'm saying. Just allow yourself to grow each day that God blesses you another day to live. Therefore, take every single opportunity given around you, family, friends, coworkers, etc., 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 to really take that opportunity of difficulty into an opportunity of growth. Simple as that. So with that said, thank you so much for tuning into another video. And for those that have been subscribed, thank you so much. And for those that are newly subscribed, thank you so much. And for those that are not subscribed, you know exactly what to do. You hit the subscribe button right here and ring the notification bell to get notified any new videos that I'll be uploading every Tuesday and Thursday every week, and always the best content that I can for you wonderful children of God. And so with that said, as I always love to say before all my videos, let's get started. Today I want to talk to you guys about what true devotion is. Now, my friends, before we even get started, have you ever asked yourself that question, what true devotion is? Maybe you've pondered on the fact that yes, going to church on a frequent weekly basis is great, and then praying the rosary every day is great, doing chaplets every day is great. But have you really asked yourself the question what true devotion is? Because really, again, at the end of the day, only God has the ultimate judgment of what your true devotion is. Right? You could say, yes, I have a true devotion to Blessed Mother Mary. Yes, I have a true devotion to Saint Joseph. Yes, I have a true devotion to Elizabeth. Great. But what the key element here is, my friends, is to actually realize how is that true devotion actually transforming you as a person? How are you allowing yourself to let that devotion that you consider true to actually better you as a true disciple and a true warrior for Christ each day? And how are you enabling that transformation to reflect others around you? Right? Through your actions especially. Right? So that's why it's very important that we have that mindful examination of ourselves, to always think like a checklist, like yes, I did my rosary today, I did my Divine Mercy Chaplet today, yes, I did my devotions today. You can name it, you can really define it however you like, right? But the judgment at the end of the day is always in God's hands, right? No one else's. So therefore, always be mindful that you're not here to really impress the world. Yes, your social media can be filled with Christ postings and whatnot, but really God can see what's behind closed doors. God can see how you really are as a person that no one else can see. Right? So we always have to be very, very careful of how we are through our actions, how we are reacting when things are not in our favor, and how we're reacting to our family, our friends, our neighbors, one another, as true disciples of Christ. Right? Because again, my friends, we all have that universal call to holiness, and we all have that universal call to sainthood. So how are we exercising that? How are we exercising that every day in our workplace, even though If you're working out there, God bless your heart. But if you're working at home, how are you exercising that? Right? Like, especially through social media. Are you being more vain, taking more selfies like no tomorrow? Or are you only thinking that the world revolves around you? Are you allowing yourselves to think that, okay, like if I'm gonna do a true devotion, the way I feel and define that true devotion is, how is it changing me? How is it changing my thinking skills? How is it changing my communication skills? How is it changing my whole person as one? And how is it affecting my relationship with Christ at the end of the day? Right? So that's why we have to allow God's graces to flow upon us. We cannot allow that umbrella of the enemy to waste away those graces that God is constantly showering you each day. Right? So that's why we cannot be thinking about how we look in the exterior all the time. Like, yes, be mindful and prudent, of course. But at the same time, though, we have to align with our exterior selves with our interior selves, which is very important. Otherwise, you're just fooling yourself, right? You're going to fall into that self-destruction mode, thinking that I am doing this because I want to look good and I want to be socially accepted by those around me. No, my friends, you're not called on this earth, on this planet Earth, to impress the world and to look good in the eyes of others, making people think that, you're actually trying to be a true disciple of Christ, but really you're just not, right? So that's why the goal and the objective here every single day is always align your interior self, reflecting Christ, to those around you with your exterior self through your actions. And it's really hard to do that. Yes, I know it's not easy, but through the graces of our Lord Jesus Christ, through our Blessed Mother Mary, and through God, you can do it. You can do it. All you have to do is put your mind to it. Open your heart more. Reflect more of who you are, not being ashamed in the eyes of Christ. As I was saying, though, we have to allow those graces from God our Father to make us acceptable to His divine mercy. Those graces are very important. Therefore, you can't transform yourself by having a true devotion without the graces of God. If you think you can do it alone without the grace of God, good luck, my friend. Good luck. Because really, at the end of the day, though, you are just a wonderful child of God in whom God constantly loves you and showers you with His love to grow better and better as a person each day that you live to glorify God's name. So that is why we constantly have to ask God to strengthen our will every day. We are weak, my friends. We are frail to temptation. We are frail to our own weaknesses. We have to fully recognize that. And so that's why we have to be able to have that full charity, to just be more submissive with God and be like, okay, I need your help, I need your graces, so that I want to be able to put that out there, put the truth of Christ out there, and tell the world that I am truer for Christ, 100%, and that I want others to have that same transformation that you have done onto me, to other people. Right? So that's why we need to act diligently all the time. Diligently, carefully, and promptly. As I said earlier today, do not procrastinate. Do not procrastinate. But don't burn yourself out though, my friend. When God calls you to do things, act upon it right away. Pray upon it as you go in that journey. But at the same time, though, don't put it off. Do not put Christ off. Especially when it's like on the spot. You act upon it. You don't waste time. You don't waste a split second of time that the enemy can take away from that moment. And that, my friend, is true devotion right there. Because you're always answering that call from God all the time, not allowing God to wait and wait and wait until you think you're ready. You won't know when you're ready until you really act upon it. When you always think you're not ready, you're never going to be ready. So therefore, when it comes to being a true warrior for Christ, you literally set your mind to the fact that I may not be ready now, but I know God will make me ready. God will prepare you to have the graces to do what He's calling you to do. So what is there to be afraid of? What is there to hold yourself back on? Right? So yes, we may be surrounded by COVID right now, but when God calls upon you to do something, you know for a fact God will make it happen. You should know that God will make a way no matter how difficult times we are in right now, right? God can see everything, my friends. So that is why we have to rise up to God frequently, no fail. Frequently and no fail, so that we will constantly grow in our devotion, our true devotion to Christ every single day, having that spiritual activity and likeness and liveliness of the divine love that works within each and every one of us every day, that even though we don't even know it, God is working within you. God uses each and every one of us as an instrument, my friend. As an instrument. And you may not even know it or realize it, but really, God could be using you to touch someone else's heart right now. Right now. So therefore, constantly be mindful to open your heart all the time. Every opportunity. Every opportunity. So that He will lead you to practice more and more of God's love to those around you, and God's commandments especially. Being ready and diligent and prudent and patient. It all comes with God's time though, my friends. God's time. That's why everything that may irritate you, just remind yourself and offer it up. God's time. Not my time. God's time. Personally, I've been doing that throughout my whole entire COVID lifestyle so far, and it's been working. I can honestly say it's working. And it's enabled me to not think of anxiety, of worriness, or fear every day. And then no matter how the enemy tries to attack me with special things that are so dear to my heart, I remind myself and I tell the enemy, nope, it's God's time, and I'm trusting everything. I'm fervently praying for it in God's hands and God's time. So back off, right? So yeah, honestly, allow yourself to practice that more. Offering up to Our Lady especially. She has the perfect humble graces and the perfect patience to endure every single pain and sorrow. She's gone through it. She's seen her son Jesus Christ die on a cross. She could have said no, but instead, she entrusted everything in God's time and in God's will, knowing that she's in good hands. And so we have to always look upon her example in our lives to be able to apply that and for others to do the same. Right? So that's why the difference between love and devotion is that love, it's that spiritual fire which becomes devotion, which is fanned into a flame. And then devotion adds to the fire of love of that flame, which gives us that eagerness to be more diligent in fulfilling God's counsels and inspirations. Right? So love and devotion, they go hand in hand constantly every step of the journey. And it's very, very, very interesting how we are instruments of God. It's just our willingness, our free will to allow God to do that. And that free will that we have, that's God's love for you, because you have the choice to love Him. You have the choice to let Him use you as an instrument for the glory and grace of God's kingdom. Right? So therefore, keep on reinforcing that yes. Keep on reinforcing that unconditional yes every single day through however you define your prayer life and your spiritual life as true devotion. Right? Because my friends, at the end of the day, God will have the final judgment. God has the final say in terms of your true devotion actually being a true devotion. I can't judge. I don't have the right to judge what your devotion is actually true. Only God can. Only God can. Because always know that whatever true devotion you have plans out right now, just remember that transformation from your interior self and your exterior self isn't aligned. Or is your exterior self more in the vain side? Or does your interior self require more work? Always make sure that they are in the same level. All for the glory and grace of God. So my friends, there you have it. Always allow yourself to be a true instrument of God, and allowing yourself to know and reflect each day that your interior self of transformation closer to Christ is aligned with your exterior self of who you are as a person, being a true warrior for Christ and being a true disciple of Christ. So with that said, and as I always love to say in all my videos, don't be afraid to be true warriors of Christ. Bye!